right. Hello everyone. This is our second Career Chat Live. I'm excited. I have an incredible guest today, and you guys are in for a treat. So, welcome again. This is going to be a regular thing that we do live on wherever you're watching, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn. So, our Career Chat Live is created for African women in STEM who want strict talk and real strategies about how to navigate their careers. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment or chat or whatever you are listening to this. Um, and we will take your questions the next time around we come online for this. So my name is Leji Dogalanya, a TEDx speaker and the founder of African Women in STEM. And at African Women in STEM, we're on a mission to empower women to take ownership of their careers, maximize their potential, and pay it forward. And we're so big on paying it forward, which is why we're here today to help you learn as we go. So each week, like I said, we're going to bring a guest mentor to answer your questions, share their journey, give you insights that can help you succeed in your career. So follow us again on LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube, wherever you prefer to tune in so that you don't miss anything. Okay. So I'm going to bring on today's guest. She is amazing. This is an incredible woman that, she's achieved so much. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. But this is Chioma Okwum. And Chioma, I'm so happy to have you here. So please go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and what you're working on right now.
Okay. So my name is Chioma Chigozie Okwum. An African woman in STEM. I'm from Nigeria, though I live and work and study in the United States. So my um, my background is in computer science. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science, a master's degree in information technology, a PhD in computer science. I'm working on a second PhD in computer science, but right now focusing on human-centered and social computing. So I've had my fair share of work experience in industry and in academia. I do a lot of human-centered research, trying to find out the missing link between the systems that we build and the humans that use the system. So currently, I'm working on strategies that we can use to incorporate more human voices in the design of data-driven algorithmic systems like the AIs that everybody is going crazy about. How do we build your voices, my voices, your voice is my voice into the design of these kinds of technologies that are not like anything that we've designed before. So that is me and what I've been up to this point.
Yeah. Well, first of all, how many PhDs? But you forgot to tell us that you're like the reigning, I don't know, how would I put it? What do you call yourself? Like, wait, what do your students call you? The students that you teach right now. You're the reigning whatever because you need to go to her LinkedIn. It's always popping, it's always on fire. She shares her experiences with her students
Yes.
and the
So
work that you're doing. So tell us a little bit more.
okay. So the thing is I have always loved teaching. So I took a pause for the past 3 years as I moved to the US to study. And I went back into the classroom this fall, teaching a class in computing ethics. And it's 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 actually a very rewarding experience because right now I'm teaching in a very new environment and it's different. So the work that I do is we're trying to get everybody to be not to be too scared. Everybody uses AI, but when I ask you, do you understand the technology that you use? They were like, I just prompt it. So what's going on? Like, where is it getting the data from? What are the ethical issues built into the AI that you're using? How is it making those decisions? Do you even understand how much agency you should give to these technologies and how much you should retain for yourself? Do you know how to critically critique and question these technologies? So that is just me. And my I do a lot of human computer interactions research, and I remember walking into the classroom and asking my students, "Do you? How many of you know about human computer interactions?" And they were like, "Uh, we didn't know." So, and these are a bunch of computer science students, right? So everybody is interested in, in software engineering, in AI, in ML. Nobody cares. No, but not that nobody cares, but very few people care about these humans that use these technologies. How do
Mm,
we string them along? Because at the end of the day, we talk about ethical use of AI. If you don't understand how these systems are built, how would you use them ethically?
mm,
How would you know when you are crossing the line? How would you know when you are losing your agency as a person, when you begin to give too much power to these technologies? So that is me, and a lot of my work moving forward that's beyond the PhD, which I'm almost seeing my second PhD. I'm almost seeing the end of it. A lot
mm,
of my work is looking at how the strategies that we develop in this part of the world, the global north, how much of those strategies can apply in other cultural settings like the global
mm.
south. There are design interventions that we use here that may or may not apply. So I'm going to do a lot of cross cultural studies. It
Mhm.
will involve a lot of ethnography, going to sit down with people and understand how we can build their own voice. Because at the end of the day, these technologies have come to stay. So we have
Yeah,
to find ways to make them usable for everybody and not leaving any demographic behind.
behind. Well, we're going to have a longer conversation about this, so just get prepared. But thank you so much for sharing that, and please make sure you follow Choma on LinkedIn because she always has interesting stories. So we're going to get to your questions. So people have been asking. So this is your second PhD. Again, first of all, I don't have a PhD. I don't plan to do one. I think it's a lot of work. It scares me. Okay. So you did the first one and you figured, oh, let me go and do another one. So
Yes.
what motivated you to do the second PhD? And I want to highlight here, which is something that a lot of women in our community might be facing. You're not like single, carefree with no responsibilities. And you're just doing this for yourself. You have a family,
Yes.
you're married, you have kids, and you just had to kind of like technically take everybody along and come on here. So tell us why you decided to do this and also how you're able to move your family and just kind of like navigate the challenges of, just coming here and still trying to raise your family and excel at this new thing.
Okay, so I am not going to jump on the wagon of people who say, I know how to manage it all, because yeah, it's actually been chaos. So the thing is, from a very young age, I knew I wanted to do research because I grew up watching my dad and my mom work in research. So that was all I knew growing up. So I did take some pause. Academic pause. I had children and I was working in industry and all that. And then I came back, went back to school. I I started doing my first PhD, and a I was working on a lot of intrusion detection, cybersecurity, and all of that in my first PhD. But something always, like, I've always been a human centered person, because even from my earliest research, I've always thought about how do we get people to tell us the kind of things they want us to do for them. I know we have a lot of power, those of us in computing, we can design anything, we can come up with anything, but how much of people's voices are we building into those, or are we just creating solutions based on our own perspectives? So apart from the fact that I wanted a different life for my children and for myself, I wanted to learn a little bit about how the human centered aspect of computing worked. And when this opportunity came up in the US, I was living in Nigeria at the time. When this opportunity came up in the US, I was like, well, this is something I want to try. Let me go and learn and do a little bit more of studies and a little bit more of research around human-centeredness, human-centered and social computing. And it wasn't an easy decision because I had a family, I have 3 children, I'm married, and all that. So that transition, people would say that when they get their visas, they get excited. When I got my visa, I think I cried every single
Oh,
day. Yes, I, I, I
um,
I'm writing currently writing a book which I'm hoping would come out maybe late 2026 or early
mhm,
2027. I'm taking my time to pour my heart and my soul into that. It's because moving to a new country at 37 is like you are folding the life you know.
mm,
And when I was leaving Nigeria, it was like I folded everything I knew. I folded the 37 years of life I had into 2 suitcases and a
mm,
backpack. And that was a lot of emotions to handle. And, you have children, you have family, and, all, and you have work. I'm someone who is deeply rooted in my Africanness, in my Nigerianness, in my Igbo-ness.
mhm,
So you are leaving all of that behind. So when I moved here, it was a smooth transition because this is what I've always wanted to do. So it
mhm,
was a smooth but painful transition because a lot of the pieces of my life was missing when I
mhm,
came in here. And then the cultural shocks, the fact that you're in a new learning environment, the environment, is not really what you are used to. But something that kept me motivated is the end goal,
mhm,
because the end goal I have is that I want to be that researcher. I want to be that woman in STEM that when you mention my name, people don't have to think too hard to remember
mhm,
me. And there is there is a place of, there is a role your location plays in your career growth.
mhm,
This is not to talk down on people who do things from outside anywhere, but for if you want to do research and if you want to grow fast in research, I think the US is one of the places where if you grow a community around you, it's easier for you to launch out from here. So
mhm,
that was my motivation. Do the time, the painful time, get the studies, and launch your career, relaunch your career, because I had a life going on. But something
mhm,
I've always done is not to throw away the life I had.
mhm,
I managed to string it along with me, because what I'm going to do is just to relaunch the career I have,
mhm,
relaunch the life I have, build on the scaffold that I have had all this while. So this is a lesson for people who I call myself a late bloomer. For people
mhm,
like me who are late bloomers, who are trying thinking of making this kind of move at a later time, of you are not in your 20s. When you make that move, don't throw away who you were entirely.
mhm,
Try to keep it alive. It will help you in
mhm,
trying. What I did, I mean, I was silent for like 6, 7, 9 months when I moved here. But then I woke up again. I came back to LinkedIn. I resurrected all my contacts. I started to show up on things I used to show up for before. And
mhm,
of course, as it was with my children, 3 children, who I have people in high school, people in middle school, in elementary school, my husband too, trying to, find his own bearing. It's been a lot. But one thing that has kept me going is that purpose I have, which is
mhm,
to become global. And then the support of my family and the fact that we all are in this together,
mhm.
and we are all working towards that goal together.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many nuggets here which we can unpack, but we don't have so much time. But thank you so much for sharing that. But there's something you said I want to point out, which is, when you start something later on, like for me, I transitioned into entrepreneurship, like, after 20 years in industry, you don't throw away everything you have. And I've
Yes.
heard this so many times. They're like, okay, even if you just started speaking now, you have like 30 something years, 40 something years of experience. That's what you're offering. So that is so key. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you this. It's going to be a two-part question, so pick whichever one you want to answer. So, what is one question
Okay.
that people usually ask you, or what is one question that you wish people will ask you about doing a PhD abroad? So, pick either one and answer.
Okay. Um Okay, so I would answer the letter.
Mm-hmm.
What one question I wish people would always would ask,
Mm-hmm.
would ask first before picking to do a PhD abroad. People, the question that people I wish people would ask, before doing a PhD abroad is, what is going to be in this for me at the end? Most people would just be like, yes, I want to do this program, I want to do that program. I always ask, what is going to be, as in, what is going to be the end goal of
Mm-hmm.
that particular program that you want to do. Don't look at the initial, maybe the gloss, and sometimes it's maybe relocation based, and the experience and all that. First of all, what is the end goal? And that end goal, I tell people, is that program that you want to do. Have you done a research? Have you gone to see people who left that program? Where did they transition to?
Mm-hmm.
Because most universities abroad have like a graduate tracer system where you can see people who left the program. So, when have you checked the kind of transition that people who have done that program have been able to move to, and how much of that aligns with the things that you want to do? I hear a lot of people say, I did a PhD, I did a postdoc, and after that I'm stuck. I feel this, I feel that. I think it is that in that
Mm-hmm.
that's looking into the future
Yeah.
that is the a missing link. How much of this program, because a PhD is actually a lot of work.
Yes, it is.
It is a lot of work. Like, you are going to burn brain cells. You are going to run on maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep for like a very long time. So if the end goal, if you don't see a future that is worth it,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you have to rethink that particular program, or rethink that particular destination that you want to go to, that particular
Mm-hmm.
university, or the lab you want to get into, or the area, the niche area, because a PhD in the US is different from what it is back home.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's so different. Back home, you do what you want to do, what you have interest in. But if you're coming, for example, to the US, you are going to be going into the lab, and you're going to be funded by someone who already has a research agenda. And
Yes.
whatever you do is going to be in alignment with that
With
person's.
their
So
yes.
looking into the future and looking at what lies ahead is what most people don't. You see that people in their third and fourth year, they are frustrated. They don't like the research they are doing anymore. It's not something that they can carry, for 10, 15 years after the PhD. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
after the PhD, they go back to things, that jobs that they could actually have gotten without doing a
Without the
PhD.
PhD,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
yeah.
this is great advice. I mean, we don't think about this thing.
No.
But now that I said, I know somebody that did a whole PhD, and he was like, if he knew what he knows now, he would never have done that
Yeah.
PhD. But to your point, most times we think about, oh, I'm going to this school to do this PhD, and that's it.
Yeah. That's
But
it.
please, you've heard Choma today. What is your end goal with your PhD? With if you're not doing a PhD, with your master's, even if you haven't gone to college, with your college degree, even if you're looking for a job, okay, you're going to work for Google. What's the end goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
let's go beyond the immediate thing or the shiny object and all of that. This is incredible advice. I hope you're listening. Thank you so much. And I want to round up with, how do you use AI to make your life easy
Okay.
or
So
better?
So my use case of AI is both for research purposes, like when I say research, to see how these tools work, so
Mm-hmm.
that it informs. For example, one of my experiments that is underway right now is to help users develop what we call critical AI literacy, where
Mm-hmm.
you understand how the technology works enough for you to ask some salient questions about how it's giving you the results. So my use of AI is both on that scale, and maybe on a daily scale, for example, to find things quicker. For example, I might want to find papers that were written about a particular topic in the
Mm-hmm.
last 2 years from a particular journal. the regular everyday Google search would mean me, going to the library, the particular library I'm looking, maybe ACM library or IEEE library, and then using some sort of filter and keywords to be able to tin down. But that I can put in any of the regular AIs and just, prompt it to say, I want papers that were published are about sketching as an illustration method in ACM library in the last 5 years, and it's going to put it out for me, right? So that is a way I use it in my everyday life. Sometimes I also like talk to the AI, like brainstorm about
Yeah.
ideas I have. What do you think about this idea that I have? How can I, frame it? Sometimes if you go through my thread, it's like I'm talking to maybe an intern that I hired, I'm talking to maybe an assistant that I have, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to see if this thing is even an idea that, if I sketch it out, it will be something worthwhile. So
Yeah.
those kinds of use cases, is like AI is like when you hire an assistant that you just pay it, for example, $18 in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it helps, make the work a little easier, because um it cuts down on some repetitive tasks, and
Yes.
things that you would actually would have needed someone to help you sort through, maybe the trash or the bin full of information,
Mhm.
all of that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So use AI for brainstorming and to save yourself lots and lots of time.
Time.
Well, this has been an incredible time, Gemma. I really appreciate you being here. And if
Thank
you're listening, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Like and share this session with your friends. And always, if you can, put your questions in the comments and send me a DM so that next time we come, we can answer your questions. And don't forget to follow Choma on LinkedIn because she's amazing. What is your handle on LinkedIn? Is it Choma Okun, right?
you so much,
Or
Igoziokum.
Choma Chigozi Okun on LinkedIn? She's incredible. Okay. And she has so many good things going. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. If you're listening on replay, that's incredible. Don't forget to put your questions and we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.